It's time for another episode of Going Ultra Season 2, where I review the Ultraman 2019 on Netflix, just released April 1st. This is April 3rd, and I'm doing the third episode. So, I figured out an exploit to get images of the show, and I decided to do it this time while I was watching on my computer. I took pictures, and I cropped them, and you're going to see them pretty soon. And here's a flipped one. We'll see if Super Productions or Netflix gives me a copyright claim or not, but here we go. So, the first thing we do this episode pretty much is meet Edo. Edo is an alien. His race had originally tried to kill Ultraman, and we're, I guess, invading Earth back in 20 years before the show, and he's the last survivor of the Zetan race of alien species. And he has been working with the Science Patrol, or the SSSP, for the last 20 years, trying to maintain peace on Earth, or, well, let me put it this way. Because, well, hold on. I don't want to recap the episode. I just want to review it. So let me pause real quick, think for a moment, and I'll get back to this. Okay, so maybe I will have to do a little bit of a recap. For whatever reason, 20 years ago, after Ultraman defeated everybody, maybe the Zetron race, there happened to also be a lot of other alien civilizations out in the universe because there is, gosh, man, this has been coming up in the news a lot lately. I've heard it, actually I've heard Digibro and Tim Pool talk about it. I follow Digibro's stuff on YouTube for his anime discussion and analysis and his rants too, and I follow Tim Pool for news. Anyway, but the two of these guys have both mentioned this thing earlier, which is this paradox that if we do not, if there is other, if there is alien life in the universe, why haven't we seen it? Yes, we've been trying for years, and we've been failing, but why is it that we're failing? Is it because that we're too unsophisticated? Is it because aliens don't want to be involved with us, which was a hilarious thing in X-Files Season 2, or the new X-Files. They did a second season last year in 2018, and that was a thing. Aliens had quarantined us. They built a big, beautiful wall around Earth because Earthlings are such jerks, and nobody in the universe wants to deal with us. Anyway, it's cool that this show addresses that. And one of the things I wanted to say about it is the thing that came immediately to my mind was this paradox that I don't remember the name of or the title of. And the other thing was this show, it really is taking, in the manga before, it took like a very like realpolitik, or that's a bad thing. That means you go blow up people who you don't like until they do things that you do like, or form a government that you like. I'm super, super anti-war. So anyway, that's going to bleed into everything I do, potentially. But it's like a very realistic look at the world. It's like, this is straight sci-fi, which I believe is the roots of Ultraman and Super Productions with their Ultra Q show, which was like a Japanese analog to the Rod Sterling show that's being rebooted right now. Not Outer Limits. Oh my gosh. Not Stranger Than Fiction. Twilight Zone. Anyway. This show takes a very science fiction approach, and it tries to deal with things realistically. And, the Edo has been working with the Science Patrol, and 12 years ago, when Bemilar made his attack where he destroyed that plane, and I don't know why since then he hasn't been too active. Anyway, again, I mentioned that last episode, but I don't want to go too much into that. There have been other aliens infiltrating Earth. Apparently they can disguise themselves and look like humans. They've been like integrating themselves into society, kind of like sleeper cells, and like kind of waiting to attack. And now they're asking Shinjiro to act as a deterrence or a defense force against these alien threats. And it's very possible that, I asked what his dad's been doing this whole time, what Shin Hayata has been doing. It's very possible that he has been acting as that deterrence force in his proto suit, because it is a prototype of the more finished Ultraman suit that Shinjiro has here. And I'm really curious as to why Edo is allied with the Science Patrol now, and why he is working to protect Earth and to see that peace treaty is carried out and executed properly and it isn't violated. But that's like a really interesting idea, and I kind of love it. And there's something really neat about this, former enemy of humanity now working with them. I still get a really creepy vibe from him, and it's not just because of the way he looks. I almost wonder if because Shinjiro was having trouble accepting this role. And then there are all these dangerous situations. A traffic incident in particular was the first one that they show here, where he acts heroically as Ultraman, which you can see images of that in the video version of the podcast review. And he, I don't know, I almost got the feeling like, did Edo somehow use, I don't know, psychic alien powers to orchestrate the accident so close to them while he was doing his training in order to cause him to get the positive reception of being Ultraman and then want to be a hero? I don't know. I'm a little suspicious, and I think it's an interesting subcurrent, or more properly said, an undercurrent of tension and drama in the show. So I'll stop going off about that, off and on about it, and I would just want to say I think it's really awesome that the Science Patrol Museum is a cover for the actual functional Science Patrol that is being utilized by these people right now. And I just think it's cool. And the building looks really awesome, too. I don't know if it's Star Wars or what, but something feels really cozy about the fact that Shinjiro and Shin are both, Ultramen or whatever, and that he's like fighting in his father's stead to protect and defend Earth now. I think it's really interesting the path that Ide is taking to convince him. He isn't really pushing him, but then again, I do feel like maybe Edo is, or Edo, whatever, I can't remember how they said it. But I don't know. I don't know. There's still like a lot of mystery and tension, and I think it's really interesting how this is all being executed. And by the way, I feel like this might be collecting a bunch of issues of the manga or chapters of the manga, perhaps, where Shinjiro is saving people in different circumstances and then just kind of sandwiching them all together so that we get him going through this trial hero phase. That's kind of funny. Through this heroic trial phase where he is kind of learning the ropes and learning how to utilize his power and the suit and everything. And I don't know. I like how it's compressed, if it in fact was compressed from the manga. And if the manga itself compressed it, then I say, my hat's off. I'm tipping my hat that I'm not wearing right now to the author or to the mangaka for the show, or for that Ultraman show series. Now, I don't have my facts straight, so maybe in the text post that'll go along with the show notes for this episode on my blog, mjmunoz.com, I'm going to look into, or maybe I will look into the links between Iron Man and Ultraman, because I heard that Iron Man, with like the thing on the middle of his chest, is inspired by Ultraman with the thing on his chest. And the screen grab I'm showing in the video version shows him from the back, so you can't see the circle, but it's there. If you watch the show, or if you're into Ultraman, you know even more so. But like, what is the link between Iron Man and Ultraman? Did he copy it, or is Iron Man a little bit of an Ultraman copy? I don't know. There was some cross-pollination between Marvel and Tokusatsu back in the 70s. And, Ultraman's even older than that. It's from the 60s. Is it 67 is the original Ultraman? I don't remember. Or maybe it's just the design of this Ultraman with the over armor is very reminiscent of the Iron Man armor that was designed, I think, by the Israeli guy, who they took like his illustrations and made them into the Iron Man suit in the movie back in 2000, whatever that was. Gosh. Anyway, I think it's really interesting. And I think that's something to talk about, but that really has nothing to do with the show. Sorry for getting off on that tangent. I'll try to veer back into what I was trying to say, which is I like the effect of this arc. In the video version, you can see a little clip of him doing something super heroic, saving that guy in the van who'd crashed. And it looks so cool, and it's so very heroic, and it's kind of one could argue that it's ham-fisted, but I think the way it was handled, where it was cut so quickly, and he goes through those paces, and then you have the thing where Moriboshi is taking point on this incident where I guess Science Patrol has like their own little defense force with these guys in armor and their guns and stuff. They're dealing with the threat of this alien who there's like all these bodies around him in this warehouse, and he's eating them. I don't know if he abducted 10 people at a time and ate them, or if this is his nesting place, so to speak. Even though an alien is less like an animal and more like a species, or a even more advanced human, and you wouldn't call a human's place a nesting place. Anyway, kind of weird. This show might make me think differently about aliens, and one of the things that reminds me of is the fact that Moriboshi tells him to eliminate the threat, and Shinjiro kind of says, like, well, what do you mean? You want me to kill it? And Moroshi is saying, like, of course I want you to kill it. Like, you're so weak and you have no will and you're just such a fool. I can't believe, we're having this discussion. And so he basically gives him a really hard time. And Moroshi has an archetype of this very severe character. I almost wonder if he'll get a suit at some point down the line and I don't know, become like a rival to Shinjiro somehow, even though he doesn't have the, the blood or the Ultraman genes. But I don't know, there's something about like that archetypes, that character setup that I like, that he offers a foil to the protagonist. And it's interesting, I had mentioned last episode that I was a little bit worried about how badly Shinjiro had wanted to defeat Bemular, and he's like, I want to pulverize you, destroy you, whatever. And I was thinking, like, oh no, what about this kid's morals and his ethics, and where's he going to go with that? But when Moroshi tells him to eliminate the alien, he calls it like scum or filth or something like that. So, totally xenophobic. And Shinjiro doesn't like that, and he ends up like jumping up onto the roof of the warehouse to go infiltrate it and take out the threat, however he's going to. He makes a comment that the subs and the dub, I didn't really read what he was saying, like, oh, like that guy had a lot of attitude. But was he saying, like, how dare he speak about aliens like that? They're also life forms just like us, advanced life forms. Or was he just saying, like, oh, how dare he tell me? I couldn't really read it, but it's interesting because, like I was getting to, Moroshi seems to represent that, like, hateful, spiteful aspect of Shinjiro's character. And if he's going to be heroic, if he's going to be the straight man, so to speak, or just like purely heroic and noble and good, then it is interesting to explore the darker side, the other side of that, possibly through Moroshi, who wants to be more violent and more protectionist, or it's hard to say or hard to articulate exactly what I'm saying, but I like the character drama that's getting set up just by the involvement of, or the addition of Moroshi to the cast. Unfortunately, the episode kind of ends on a cliffhanger, but before it ends, we get to see the alien that's killing all these people with a proboscis-like thing coming off of its face injected into a man's mouth, and this man has blood on his shirt and on his chin and neck and stuff, and he is making the most disgusting, repulsive slurping sounds while he is eating and killing him. And the sight of this enrages Shinjiro, and Shinjiro begins to, he screams and he begins to run at the alien, and then it cuts. So we'll have to see what happens next time. But that's pretty intense. So, great episode. Let me think about this for a moment. This story seems like it's trying to be a bunch of things all at once, which I like. Like, it's trying to be realistic with how aliens would interact with humanity. It's trying to be a hero story that is grounded, but Shinjiro is still a noble individual. He's a noble character who wants to do good and do right. And then you have the dark side of that represented by Moroshi, and then Shinjiro's rage here, which we got a sneak peek of when he first transformed in and then fought Bemular, or in preparation to fight Bemular, and then we get to see it here when this alien is doing something truly horrific and disgusting. And I don't know if they need to put him in space jail, or if he needs to be killed, or what the moral thing is, but I kind of think the show is going to wrestle with that question, and I love that. It's exciting to me. Doing these reviews daily is both great for me and frustrating. It's frustrating because I want to watch them all, but I don't have the time anyway, so it's great for me because it makes it fit into my schedule more. But yeah, I'm definitely not going to let... I'm going to take care of the show. It might take me 3 weeks, 5 days, and then 2 days to do it, because I'll probably take the weekends off, but we'll see. But man, I'm really enjoying this show so far. It's got a great hook. The aesthetic's good. The action is good. Gosh, I don't know. The characterization is good too. I'm really, really enjoying it, and I love. It seems to be like a complex story, and I really am enjoying it. I had a lot to say this time, but it's time for me to get out of here. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, go ahead and like, share, subscribe if you're not already. Ring that notification bell so you can get the rest of these reviews. And I also have reviews of Kamen Rider and other Ultraman stuff from Super I Pro, and little bit of Super. Well, no Super Sentai just yet. But I've got comic reviews too, and so much more. You can look at mjmunoz.com. Follow along. Support me through Coffee. I'd appreciate that. It's coffee.com/mjmunoz. And that's all. Toodles.